FOMO, no fear, subscribe, stay sharp, and dance with the stinky socks. Dance with the stinky socks.
Heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks. Bought some Bitcoin late at night. Woke up rich, that ain't right. Checked again, never mind. Broke as hell, see that line? Maybe risky, maybe wild, but so is betting on Uncle Clyde. Do your research, read your blogs. For heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks.
Don't smoke your socks.
1, 2, test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Everybody hit that line.
No FOMO, no fear. Subscribe, stay sharp. Don't smoke those stinky socks.
Let's go. Hi, legends. Welcome to another live stream. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. Let's do a little bit of technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. I see Bitcoin is pumping and everyone's saying, woohoo, right? We are getting another leg to the upside. So now potentially, hopefully, you know, we could say, well, now we maybe have a 5-wave structure here to the upside. And, you know, this is the local structure that I want to analyze. I'm sure everyone is very interested. Well, what is going to cook over here inside of this damn local structure at the moment? Okay, legends, I would be very surprised if it just pumps and falls, right? Because that, ladies and gentlemen, would be a teeny weeny small little 5th wave to the upside. I mean, look at 1. Okay, look at 3. They have nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Just to have a little teeny weeny 5th wave like that. What I'm looking at the moment is, yes, there's a chance for a rejection, a higher low, and then 3, 4, 5. So at least, you know, you would expect this 5th wave to extend a little bit more to the upside, not just fall from where it can like to be, right? Just it starts correcting. That, ladies and gentlemen, will not count as a 5th wave to the upside. It's too shallow compared to these little waves. Okay, there is a couple of ways to measure 5th waves to the upside, right? The easiest way is that you at least want to see a 5th wave that is similar in length to your first wave. $104,000, right? That's one way to measure a 5th wave to the upside. Usually, okay, not always, your 5th wave is more or less the same length as your first wave. Your 3rd waves are usually more aggressive and they have more volume inside of them. Right, so it would be very strange now that we got the pop to the upside to reject and fall down. If we do fall, I'm not saying we can't fall down. If we do fall down from where price is at the moment, it's still part of the corrective structure. It's not the 5th wave yet. It needs to extend to the upside. It can't just stop here and fall down, because then this can be, what if this is an A, B, C, right? You're just forming a larger 3-wave structure. Finds the low and then it breaks up for a 5th wave. So not out the woods just as yet, but we will go and analyze this little structure in a moment. Okay, so legends, now That is the trend that I'm tracking. Let me just take it out there. Remember to smash up that like button. Let me go through some comments, say hi to the community, and then we can dive here into the technical analysis. I can see the excitement in the air. Some people are asking, well, now this is a 5-wave structure. Not yet. It's not a 5-wave structure yet, right? It's too low. It needs to go a little bit longer. You know, if it extends a little bit and it starts rejecting over here, you know, in this zone over here, I would say, okay, well, now that on the 1 hour time frame, that looks like a proper 5-wave structure, not just fall down from where it is right now. That could potentially still be part of the corrective structure. Okay, we're rejecting at a very interesting level at the moment, Legends. Also a level that I highlighted this morning in our Legends Pro community. I was just checking out the P&Ls. Oh, Pro members here in the community, you guys are nailing it. Mr. Wizard, holy... What are you smoking? You're definitely not smoking stinky socks. You most probably smoking clean socks with Stay Soft inside of it, because boy oh boy, you are roping in the trades over here, right? Yeah, in our Legends Pro community. And I just wanted to share with everyone what I shared this morning is I told the Legends, keep an eye on the FIB extension levels to the upside. There's a chance that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The structure is done. We're going to start correcting. You don't know how the structure is going to unfold, but if we do pump to the upside, keep an eye on the 786, keep an eye on the 1-to-1 extension, and most importantly, I mean, the 1.236 is a very important zone. Okay. Kind of where we're getting rejection at the moment as we speak. That is where we're currently getting the rejection. Some of the trading scenarios that I highlighted this morning in the Legends Pro community. Okay, Legends, now, right, remember down in the description, okay, is the exchanges that I trade with. I organize you guys the best deals with these exchanges so that you don't have to go and scratch around and search and Google, whatever the case might be. I've got weeks, you get 20% cash back. First 100 people to sign up also gets $100 additional. Right, you also get 25% discount on your trading fees, and you also stand a chance to win a Ferrari if you register with this link down here. Just trade as you usually do, okay? You could be entered into that competition to win a nice little blood red Ferrari in your driveway. Bluffing also, the more more volume you move, the more money gets airdropped into your account here on Bluffing. And here is weeks. First 100 users get 100 USDT bonus. Right, cool, Legends, let's dive in. Okay, also if you'd like to come and join our Legends Pro community, here is the link down in the description. There's a free section and there's a paid for section, but I have to say, myself and Andy and the coaches, we spend 99% of our time inside of the paid community. Okay, cool, Legends. Now let's zoom into this little structure at the moment. But wait. Before I get there, let's just do quickly high time frame. Okay, where are we from a structural perspective? Okay, let's do it quickly. Take a FIB from the high to the low. Which level did we tap? Okay, we did not tap the 0.618 just as yet, so I expect a little bit momentum still to the upside. It would be strange just to front run it by, what is this? Okay, $30 and just fall down. So I'm still expecting momentum to the upside. Okay, another thing I want to check quickly is if we take the fixed range volume profile. Let's look at this entire range that we have been in. Okay, also we are now at the point of control of this entire range. Point of control mean this little red line over here is where the most amount of volume was traded during this entire range. Okay, so you guys can see that we are approaching critical resistance at the moment. Okay, I just have to point this out, right? We have the golden pocket, we have the point of control. You know, maybe this is going to be a tough nut to crack. Maybe it is going to chop here to the upside, find weakness, and then start dropping. But at least you can still then see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. Okay, I want to see a clear 5-wave to the upside. We're going to go into the smaller time frames now to see what we can potentially make out over there. Right, Legends, so obviously a great area of resistance that we find ourselves in. So now, okay, let's zoom into the 15-minute time frame. Okay, I even want to go here onto the 5-minute time frame, because yesterday during the live stream, okay, let me switch on my stuff. Right, I have a folder called stuff. Right, yesterday during my live stream, I just want to switch the parallel channel off. It's making everything a little bit blurry. There we go. Right, we were here yesterday, last night during my live stream. We were here. Okay, we broke out. I had the little bull flag. If you paid attention, right, you play the breakout, you take profits by the highs. Successful trade in the bag. Right, depending on how you played this breakout and depending on where you put your stop loss, you could potentially still be in this trade, right? There was another breakout, right? There was another breakout. Sorry, another breakout, and so the momentum just continued to the upside. When the trend is up, it's always in your best interest to look for longs. I know what, you know, a lot of us are trying now to catch the top. Can I catch this top? Okay, am I going to nail the top and short it all the way back to the downside? Remember, legends, if this is a proper fifth wave forming to the upside, I do expect more momentum to the upside. It's too short. It's too short at the moment. So how I'm looking at the structure is to say that, right, I can take these trends now out the way. We don't need that because that's the live trade we did last night. I hope you guys took profits. Maybe you still got some of that position open. Congratulations. Right, if this is the first wave, okay, 1, 2, 3, that's still busy over here. This could still form a 4 and a 5 to the upside. You get the rejection. Oh crap, we're falling. Okay, but you've got a 5-wave structure to the upside, which now creates your first wave. This becomes your second wave, and then you go up for your third and your fifth wave. You guys get the picture that I'm trying to paint out over here, okay? And this little structure that has been forming at the moment, confusing little structure, but you know, it does look impulsive. Nice green volume kicking in here in your third wave is what you'd like to see, okay? You can count this in many ways, but from a simplicity perspective, you have a 1, 2, and then you potentially have multiple 1, 2s. 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's now going 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, then your 3 moves up there, then your 4 moves up, your 5 goes over there, right? This could still chop here to the upside because of this, right? You have the grinding structure. You shoot now up and you go 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? So it can still chop and make those triple tops, double tops here to the upside before it starts rejecting. The fib extension that I've got here to the upside is basically very simple fib pool from the low to the high to the low. Okay, and here at the 1.236 is where we got the first initial rejection. You enter like a sniper. For those of you that did play the 1.236 here to the downside, because I did see some of the pro members were watching that level. Okay, if you did play this SFP, remember you are trading against the trend. You have to be defensive. Okay, if you played this little swing failure pattern, you enter like a sniper, your stop goes above the high, right? And when you start, you know, when I start hitting other fib levels to the downside, I mean, it's still a 6.31 risk to reward. What else do you want? Okay, definitely a profit taking area. Okay, you can see how this pivot provided support, right? There's your support area. It fell down. If you didn't pay yourself when you start hitting support, well, trying to catch the top, thinking that you've nailed it, well, now you've been stopped out, okay, with nothing, right? You sniper it, you fall down, you take profits, especially, you know, this is what I like to do. When I have nice little fib extensions that's far apart, it rejects at a certain fib. It hits another fib level to the downside. It automatically is a support zone where you want to take profits. Okay, I just want to see out of curiosity, where was the VWAP? Now, VWAP is still very far away. Okay, right, legends. So if you are attempting shorts, please be very, very selective about how you short, and exceptional good risk management, and just pay yourself on the way down, right? Because you are shorting against momentum to the upside. So it's actually in your best interest to look for longs. Right, cool legends, but we have our levels marked out to the upside. We still have the 1.382, we still have the 1.618 to the upside. So if it wants to continue to chop right, you can play these little rejections. Okay, as it rejects, okay, you can play the rejections. This is a very important level. This could be, if it does tap this level, this could be the top of this structure. You know, if it chops here to the upside and then you get a larger pullback and maybe it continues. Okay, this could be a nicer down, a trade to the downside. Okay, right, legends. So for now, this structure is, you know, just chopping here to the upside. No signs of weakness just as yet at the moment. Okay, while it is getting acceptance back below the 1.236, you know, just grabbing that liquidity. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this plays out. I've got my trend. Okay. It's just not in a trading zone for me at the moment. The only trade that I would now have taken over here is to play the short. Okay, you start hitting support, you take profits again. Because now again, it got rejection below the 1.236. But usually when a level got a reaction already and it pulled back, I don't like to attempt another short. Especially if I already made profits. You know, I'm rather waiting for levels a little bit up. But now price needs to start ranging. Because inside of a range, that is where you get most of your answers. Okay. What I will do is, depending on where price turns around, okay, let's say it still chops here to the upside and it starts rejecting a little bit more to the downside. That is where I take my fib retracement from the low to the high of wherever the structure is going to end. Okay, if I hide this trend based fib just to clean up the levels, because then you could potentially be done with your 1, 2, 3. You take your fib from 2 to 3, and now you're waiting for your fourth wave. Okay, fourth wave has to find support between your 0.382 and your 50% Fibonacci. Okay, then that becomes 3. And you're expecting one more fifth wave here to the upside to go and complete a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after a 5-wave structure, you expect a pullback. Maybe it finds support here above the highs, right? Because that's also support. 50% Fibonacci, golden pocket. Okay, maybe there's a nice little trend. Hopefully there's a nice little trend that's going to form as price falls here to the downside. Nice little trend. You play the breakout back to the upside. Because it would be very strange, like I've said, guys, on the larger time frames, it would be very strange for price just to fall down from where it is right now. Okay, and let's talk about that scenario. We'll talk about that now. Okay, you want a 5-wave structure to form, a pullback, a 3, a 4, and a 5. You want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. Exactly what happened here on the larger time frame. When you look at the structure, okay, now that I've drawn it out, it kind of makes sense, right? You have a nice long 1, 2, 3. Look at how nice and long. 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5. It's actually not so long. So even hitting $100,000 still means that your third wave is not the shortest, because this first wave is longer than your third wave, which is fine as long as the third wave is not the shortest. So I wouldn't expect this, because then there's something wrong with the structure. And if I see this, oh, then this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It's going to go and claim the all-time highs, right? If you see an explosion above $100,000, 102, 103, it just rock and rolls. This becomes a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 to the upside. And there's a high chance it's going to go and claim the all-time high at $110,000, right? So you would expect the structure to start turning around so that the fifth wave is not longer than your third wave. Okay, so very interesting. So what I want to do now is, I haven't actually done this fib pool, but if I take a trend-based fib to measure the length of wave 3, okay, Now the question is, did it end over here? Did it end over there? Doesn't really matter, but let's just take it from the lowest point to the highest point of the structure and then to this low over here that was created last night. Let me reverse it back to the upside. Okay. So, you do not, well, for the bulls you want to, okay, but if the structure is going to balance itself, right, 1 2 3 4 5, 0.618, beautiful target. 786, also perfectly fine. It's not allowed to tap the 1-to-1 extension, because as soon as this wave taps the 1-to-1 extension, it means that the fifth wave is the third wave is the shortest wave. Not allowed, which means the structure turns into a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 to the upside. That's going to go and claim the all-time high. So this will actually be your confirmation. If we tap the 1-to-1 extension at $104,000, 757, we most likely going higher. Okay, right, but we have to acknowledge massive resistance in the zone over here. Okay. As per the higher time frame analysis. Just want to see another fib pool. Very common fifth wave target is also when you take a fib from the low of 1 to the high of, now the question is, where's 3 to the low of 4? Yeah, that's also a fifth wave target, by the way, but it's very high, right? It's unlikely that you're going to hit this target for a fifth wave target when you do the trend based fib from the low to the high to the low to work out your 0.618 for a common fifth wave rejection, because it surpasses the 1-to-1, which means your fifth wave is going to be longer than your third wave. Okay, so right, so just a couple of ways to check the fifth wave here to the upside. Cool, legends. So for now, okay, the structure is pumping here to the upside. Be very selective about which shorts you select, and then we also have the levels to the upside. Okay, so if I take all the noise out the chart, let's take this fib extension out the way. Let's switch on some weekly, daily levels. Okay, also very interesting. Where did we get the initial rejection? Also at the weekly level. If I go back here onto the 15-minute time frame, right, that weekly level was also in confluence with the 1.236 that I've just highlighted. A little bit lower, right, but you can see you're getting the reaction at a weekly level. One level up, we've got a daily level, $96,500, right? So I will be monitoring the reaction at each level, and I can short while I'm in a long to the upside. I can still short and make profits to the downside, hedge against my long. Okay, but I will be very selective and I will be very defensive. Okay, and if I can't sniper the entry, I'll stay out of the trade, because I'm acknowledging that I'm trading against the trend. Okay, right. Let me go through some comments. Could you possibly check CVD? Yes, we can go and check out CVD. Yeah, right. Okay. There was some bearish CVD that was forming with this momentum here to the upside, and it got invalidated when we claimed the high. Okay, but for now it's very neutral, very neutral. No bearish, no bullish. There's actually a little bit of bullish CVD building up here on Bybit. Okay, I'm using the 5-minute time frame over here. Little bit of bullish CVD on Bybit, which says the high needs to be claimed. Okay, that's if it does not claim the low. Right, then it will get invalidated, but it's only one confirmation. Right, so not much to check here at the moment. Very neutral. Okay, cool, legends. So for now, it could literally just chop, right? You need to see the sign of weakness. You need to start seeing bearish CVD with the retracements. You need to start seeing bearish CVD. Okay, we need, okay, like what happened here. We now got the pump here to the upside. We need a similar structure. Okay, you've got the flag at the bottom, the pump to the upside with high volume. Now the structure needs to cool off, and that is potentially going to create a shorting opportunity. Bearish CVD, you lose it, you're short here, it finds support, but now you have a 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. It corrects itself, and then it continues for the next wave to the upside. Okay. It's the easiest way that I can explain these structures without going into too much detail. Okay, usually when you start getting a pump and it started with a choppiness, okay, at the bottom, and you get that initial pump to the upside, now you expect a choppiness to the upside as well. Choppy, chop, 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 chop. You're basically duplicating the structure to the up, and you know what happened here? It's now happening there. It'll eventually, maybe it forms a nice little trend, it breaks down, you place a short, stock goes above the high, okay, you start hitting support over here, you take profits. Right, because this could be forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. From a bearish case perspective, legends, I know, dare I even talk about a bearish case scenario? Dare I even talk about a bearish case scenario? Because there is still the potential. Okay, where this could have been an A, this is a B, a three-wave structure in a B, complex three-wave structure in a B, and we still go down for a C. Claim all the liquidity here below, right, and find support at this order block. This scenario is still on the table because price has not gone high enough. Okay, it needs to tap the 1.618. So to go and calculate flat targets, you take your trend-based fib from the high to the low, you drag it across, you reverse it, okay? And this little box over here, which we have not entered just as yet, is still flat targets. That little box is still B flat targets. A, B, C. Okay, we're almost there. So we're not out the woods just as yet. So this structure needs to turn into a bullish structure. This needs to be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there's a chance, and that's why nothing is ever guaranteed in trading. I wish I could sit here and tell you guys the correction is done. There's a high chance that it is done, like I discussed yesterday during my live stream as well. There's a high chance that the low is in. When we did the W, X, Y counts, okay, X ending in the triangle, we did the fib extensions, it found support where it was supposed to find support. We explained the scenario, while it can still form a double zigzag here to the downside, but there's a high chance that the low is in. Okay, we discussed all of those scenarios. So, if there's a high chance that the low is in, this structure has to form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has to form a 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, then we can count this as a 5th wave. For now, it's just a pump, okay, that can reject and still come and claim the lows. So, unfortunately, I wish I could be more clear and give you better news, but that's why it's important to always trade with stop losses, because the market is not for certain. Okay, right, legends, we're not out the woods just as yet. I do think that it's a low probability to reject and claim the lows again because of how long the corrective structure has been already. So perhaps, you know, if you do fall down and there's some nice bullish CVD building up, that would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, but on the smaller time frames, I'm still expecting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I still want to see a 5-wave structure inside of this local structure. Then get the pullback with some bullish CVD, the trend, you play the breakout, doesn't claim the lows, find support in the zone over here, and then we go 3, 4, 5 to the upside. Okay, then we can say with confidence, we now have a 5-wave structure on the 1 hour, 4 hour time frame. Okay, now probabilities will then start to increase that potentially the low at, what was it, $74,000? Okay, the low at $74,000 could potentially be in. Okay, but we need to see a clear 5-wave structure to the upside, and at the moment it's not convincing. Okay, right, just want to clean up the levels. I mean, tell me, that does still not look like a 5-wave impulse at the moment. 1, 2, 3. It's still a three-wave structure. You need to see a nice little leg here to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that looks better. It needs to look clean. Okay, it needs to look like a 5-wave structure, especially when you zoom out into the smaller, onto the larger time frames. Okay, right, legends. We are facing some resistance here to the upside. So maybe it's still going to chop and make those 4 5s, then get the rejection to the downside. And also I wanted to talk about Fetch. We went through Fetch yesterday. Okay, this is the trade I entered this morning on Fetch. Okay, small little scalp trade, broke the trend. Okay, I missed this one, right? I saw the breakout and then I was looking at resistance. Okay, I want to see us smash through resistance. We came back for the retest. That is where I entered, right? My stop goes below this consolidation area and I'm targeting the 1.236 as a profit taking area. So currently in this Fetch trade at the moment. Yesterday I also spoke about the link trade, right? Yes, my link trade still open, running on weeks at the moment. You guys can see, I didn't apply a lot of leverage. I don't like to go crazy with leverage on altcoins, okay? Because the percentage moves are so massive. So still inside of this link trade at the moment. And right, but I entered over here. We spoke about this. I entered over here. This is where I entered, and I used the 0.382 FIP retracement to get in. Okay, when you look at the structure, okay, there's always a bullish and a bearish case scenario, but 1, 2, 3, 4 tapped the 0.382 common fourth wave target. There was a trend, there was resistance. Okay, I did say if you did play this little SFP from the 0.382, this becomes a profit-taking area because you could reject and fall to the downside. Luckily, it broke out. Okay, so I've still got some of the position running here to the upside. Beautiful breakout to the upside. Okay, so now you have turned resistance back into support. Absolutely stunning. Right. Okay. And I am planning to take profits right around about 16 cents. 16 cents is where I plan to take profits. You might be asking yourself, well, why are you planning to take profits over there? Okay, it's because if this is a fifth wave to the upside, the most conservative target that I have is you take a FIB from the high to the low, you reverse it, okay? And between the 1.236 and the 1.382 is very common fifth wave targets. So this is actually my profit zone. This is my profit taking zone. Okay, 15, let's just call it 15 cents. Okay, well, 15.76 cents to be exact is where I am planning to close my position. I don't care if it goes higher. Happy. Okay, to have a trade running from year to year, absolutely amazing. Okay, right. Not sure if I've spoken about this, guys. Money flow. Okay, into money flow. Basically, how much money is inside of the world. It's the simplest way that I can explain it. Okay, the global money supply. And you can see the direct correlation that the global money supply and Bitcoin has. Okay. Money supply drops, Bitcoin drops. Money supply goes up, Bitcoin goes up. Money supply drops, Bitcoin drops. Now look at this. Money supplies are already at $160,000 if you compare it to the price of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin could potentially be catching up. Who knows, right? But it's just interesting to keep in mind that the money supply and the Bitcoin has had a direct correlation for many years, actually. Okay, you can go back into the history and you can go and back test this. Okay, the money supply and risk on assets has a direct correlation, and it's very interesting to see where money supply is at the moment, and it is lagging. First money supply will go and then Bitcoin will follow behind. Okay, so there's quite a big inefficiency over here that potentially still needs to be filled. Okay, can we still do this and then go up? Right, according to this, it looks like it's only up. Right, it only needs to find up from over here. It's just something interesting to keep in the back of your mind is that Bitcoin has been following the global money supply very nicely. And now money supply is at $160,000, $170,000 if you compare it to the price of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is just starting its journey here to try and catch up. So potentially, just looking at this, there's a chance that the low is in. Okay. Right, just something interesting I wanted to point out. Dominance, well, what can we say? Dominance is still pumping here to the upside, right? It's not finding any weakness just at the moment. The first sign of weakness is at least losing this trend over here, okay? This short-term trend that I have over here, come on, Dominance, you need to reject, okay? If we're going to see like fireworks inside of the altcoins, it needs to reject, lose the trend. That will be like, okay, tick number 1. That's a sign of weakness. Okay, then it needs to lose this trend over here. Tick number 2. Okay, this is now starting to look good. And maybe we could see a nice little alt party once again. Right, but Bitcoin dominance at the moment is still looking strong. Okay, if I go here onto the weekly time frame and I take a fib from the high to the low, right guys, this is macro weekly time frame stuff over here. Okay, high to low. Maybe the next stop is going to be the 786. Okay, 66.22%. Maybe that's going to be a nice little rejection zone. Okay, who knows? At the moment, it's not stopping, right? Let's see what happens when we hit the zone. You can see what happened when we tap the 0.618. Dump to the downside. When we tap the 50%, we consolidated for long below. When we tap the 0.382, rejection. So you can see that each fib level has been respected. Okay, you got a reaction at each fib level. Let's see what reaction we're going to get once we hit 66.22%. Okay, let's go back here onto the price of Bitcoin. A 5-minute time frame. Okay, it's just, guys, where price is at the moment, yeah, it's not, it's definitely not in a longing zone. Let me put it that way, right? Bitcoin this is not where I enter, closing my eyes and hoping for the best, that it's just gonna go, right? No, no, because I do realize that you are hitting, okay, or you potentially start hitting resistance. It actually starts from here because you have the daily and the weekly levels above. Okay, this is actually when we start hitting resistance. I moved the box by mistake, but this is your resistance zone, guys. You are inside of resistance. I do not long into resistance. I long the breakout of resistance, and when you backtest it as support. The only time I will long over here is if it does this and it comes back and it retests the area as support. This is where I'm interested in a long because of this. This, you are inside of resistance. There's no breakout just as yet. So that for me is not a longing zone. You have to now be, if you're not in a long and you haven't benefited from the momentum here to the upside, actually this zone is actually a better area to actually look for shorts. But you're going to have to be very defensive with your shorts because you are trading against the trend. And what if it does pop here to the upside? Okay, so you have to have really good risk management in place. You can't just, okay, say, okay, well, I'm going to short this zone. You enter, right? Price pumps. You enter again, adding to your position. Price keeps on pumping. You keep on adding to your position. And by the time there's nothing left to add anymore, you know most what happens. By the time there's nothing left to add and you're about to get liquidated on your account, it says, wabam, and then it moves in your direction. Okay, right. Legends, that is basically it. So from a simplicity perspective, keep an eye on the levels that we have marked out. We do have a daily level that has not been tapped just as yet. So if you want to attempt a short in the zone, okay, let me take the box out the way. Because you didn't benefit from the long, maybe you were working or maybe you were sleeping, all of this happened, you know, while you were busy. Well, this is like what happened over here. You can play a nice little scalp to the downside. This was a 6 risk to reward here to the downside when you measure it out. Okay, so this is the next area that I will pay attention to. If it gets, if it pierces the level, it gets acceptance back below, that is where I short, that is where I put my stop loss. Okay, right, you have to be defensive and you need to take the knock on the chin if it does that. Take the knock, don't move your stop loss. If price reverses against you, don't be that person that moves your stop loss. Okay, you're going to regret that. You might get lucky a couple of times. You move your stop loss and then it turns around. You're like, thank God I moved my stop loss, but you don't always get lucky. Okay, I have seen people burn their accounts because they plan their trade, but they don't stick to the plan. Very important to stick to your plan, legends. Okay, right. So what can I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could potentially be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually a very interesting count. Okay, let's map this out. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's play a little bit with the structure and try and figure it out. Okay, that's micro count over there. Let's make it a yellow color. Okay, so we can distinguish. Remember, each wave has to have 5 waves inside of it. Third waves are usually the easiest waves to count, by the way. Okay, so if this is then the first wave inside of your third wave, this now becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means that your third wave could potentially extend a little bit higher. Okay, just bear with me, guys. There's method behind my madness. Right, this becomes minor. Let's make it a different color. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is that, guys, inside of your third wave, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so inside of your first wave, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see 5 waves inside of the first wave. Yeah, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's potentially busy with the 5th wave, which could mean that this is now number 3 is going to end here somewhere. And now you have, okay, let's copy this one, clone. Okay, wait, it's going to actually be better just to take a new. Okay, legends, I'm going to have to map this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We make that the same color as the other one. It's micro. Make it micro. We make it yellow. Okay. Now this becomes very interesting, legends. Okay, let's just switch off the waves because that creates confusion for me. Okay, let me just paint this out. Let me paint this out. Okay, right. And then potentially you're going to form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your 5th wave, which is the end of your 3rd wave. And then you still expect a 4 and a bigger 5 to the upside. Right, I hope I have not confused you guys. Okay, but let me draw it out and it will all make sense. Okay, let me put on this one's waves. That will maybe make it a little bit easier. Okay, legends, inside of your 3rd wave that we are now forming since we created 2. We have 1, we have 2, and we're now busy with a 3rd wave. Inside of your 3rd wave, you need 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inside of each wave, you need 5 waves. Okay? Can you guys see how technical you can get? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 is now busy with the 5th wave inside of the 3rd wave. So maybe we are going to get the rejection here at the daily level to go and complete the 4th wave. Do you see why it's important when you short a level, you need to take profits to the downside? Because this can still happen. You now have a 1, 2, 3. You form a correction for a 4 and you go back up. Right, to complete now your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your 3rd wave where you have 1, 2, 3. You come back down for a 4th wave and you make another 5th wave, which is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. which brings you to $98,000. This is now if you really want to get technical, right? Just want to show you guys, well, this is what I do in the mornings. I really get technical, okay? But when the structure has played out a little bit longer, it's easier to count the structures. So, okay, basically, when I do the count over here, you're still expecting choppiness to the upside. 3 peaks. Maybe this is going to be the rejection zone that sends the entire structure a little bit lower. Very interesting. Okay, right. Hi Dewald, hi Arena. Welcome to the live stream. M2 global chart is why I know BTC is gonna rip 2025. Load all bags. The boat painter. I mean, right, if this was our only indicator, if this was the only indicator you ever used, right, you would be packing your bags, selling your house, selling your kidney, your wife, your dog, your children, you know, rent a tent, stay in someone's backyard, sell everything and just buy Bitcoin, right? Because there's a chance that it's going to just follow suit because it has been doing it so far. Okay, it has been doing it so far. You can also see, I need to zoom in over here. When you start going back, I need to zoom in. You can see global money supply pumps, Bitcoin pumps. Global money supply drops. We had a correction over here. Okay, but it does repeat quite nicely. With the peaks here to the upside, we also created the peaks to the upside with global money supply. Okay, and I don't know if I can go back any further without the chart breaking itself. Okay, but it has been directly correlated for a very, very long time. Okay, so if this was your only indicator, guys, and by no stretch of the imagination, and am I saying that this is exactly how it's going to play out? Because what if Bitcoin does make a larger correction, takes the lows again, and then it follows? Okay, you just never know how it's going to play out, right? But looking at this global money supply, it looks very interesting. It looks very, very interesting. And I mean, when you look at the global money supply rampaging to the upside and you look at the structure that wants to go, you actually want a double 1-2. Okay, what do I mean by double 1-2? Okay, you want to go and tap $104,000. You want to. Okay, it shouldn't pull back. It must just go. If I go here onto the 4-hour time frame, let me clean up the levels. I think if we're going to follow suit, just cleaning up the chart, sorry legends. Okay, let's take out the stuff, right? So now what you would want to see is the following: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, inside of this structure you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's a double 1-2 structure. It's a, you know, to put it in simple terms. Let's make that lower degree. Let's make that a different color. Okay, that's basically what you're looking at. It's a double 1-2. So if this structure is gonna follow suit, you want volume to start increasing over here. Green volume needs to start kicking in, because if you're busy with a third wave, okay, because you now potentially, you've already created the first wave inside of your third wave. When you create the third of the third, you want to see the most amount of volume. You want to see aggressive momentum to the upside. It needs to look like a rocket. Okay, it needs to go. It needs to lift off. Okay, needs to lift off now at the moment, because once we start hitting here $103,000, $104,000 in this zone, then this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and this, ladies and gentlemen, could align with what we're seeing over here. It's the most bullish structure, and it's also the structure that everyone is giving the lowest probability. The simplest structure is a normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then correct, maybe find support above the highs, and then you continue. So that's also fine. That's also fine. Most bullish case scenario, you're going to go and claim all-time high at $110,000. Right? You don't need that pullback. You don't need it. It can just go. And this is a structure that I have been talking about here on the live stream. I did not give the structure the highest probability because of how shallow the retracements are. Very shallow retracement for wave 2. Very shallow retracement for wave 2. You didn't even hit the 0.382 minimum target for wave 2. It's not an invalidation and impacts the probabilities. And that's why I'm saying the scenario doesn't have high probability. Okay, maybe you form that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth wave is done. You start a corrective structure, find support above the highs, and then we continue. It is a healthier structure. It's a more common structure, plays out more often. But it's going to get very interesting. I just don't see enough volume kicking in here at the moment. You know, I want to start seeing aggressive volume needs to start kicking in. Dewald, try 84-day and 108-day offset on M2 supply. Yeah, Ryan, I have tried so many settings to get this thing to balance, okay? The best setting that I found was 75 days, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, but I'll try yours. You said offset. Try 84. Let's try 84. Okay, let's see what 84 does. Oof. Actually looks better on 84. Okay, it looks good on 75 as well. And 100-day offset on M2 and 108-day, right? But I mean, guys, but you see the correlation. I think the only point that I was trying to make with the M2 money flow is the correlation. Money supply goes up, Bitcoin goes up. Money supply goes down, Bitcoin corrects. Money supply is at the moment going up. Is very high at the moment, and Bitcoin is lagging behind, right? So, okay, but I mean, there's a couple of settings you can play around with. Thanks for that, Mr. Ryan. Okay, we are just $100 away to leave that purple box. To leave the purple box. Right, let's go back here into, let's do 10-minute time frame. I actually want to save this scenario. Let's put super bullish. Let's call this super bullish. A scenario that no one is expecting. Okay, I have personally not seen any Elliott wave counter talk about this scenario. They just simply write it off because of how shallow the retracements are. Okay, that's the and rightfully so because of how shallow the pullbacks has been. Right, let's put my stuff back on. Oh, I also wanted to talk about the parallel channel, guys. Okay, so talking about resistance, I mean, look at this, right? Parallel channel basically connecting the low with the high with the lows over here. Okay, we are starting almost there, tapping the top of the box. This could just be a, you know, you stay in the channel, you consolidate to the downside. So we are facing some horizontal diagonal resistance here at the moment. We are facing some diagonal resistance. Not something that I'm really paying attention to just for interest sake. Okay, just for interest sake, something that I'm looking at. Right, now, where is my daily levels? Okay, got the pierce through the daily level. Okay, if we get rejection, yeah, it's not below yet. It's not below yet. Right, that's where I enter my short. Okay, that's typically where I would enter my short. As soon as you get acceptance back below the daily level, right, I'm not entering the shorts right now, legends. I'm busy here with the live stream. But just looking at the price action, I want price to trade below the level. That's where I get interested. I like the wick to the upside because it shows weakness. And now it looks like price is, it wants to trade here to the downside. And this is usually where I give it a little bit of an attempt. But because the wick is so long, okay, and I have to put my stop loss above the wick, I will use less capital. Okay. And right, so there's a chance that the price is going to reject from over here, and as per the structure that I've counted out here in so much detail, okay, let's see. It would be interesting to come onto the live stream tomorrow and then see, well, did it follow this structure? That would be very interesting to see. Okay, because this is now potentially your third and your fifth wave of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It rejects. Okay, it goes complete a 3-wave structure in a number 4, and it goes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete your 5th wave inside of your 3rd wave. So let's see if this plays out. Very curious. Okay, but that is typically a place where I would place a short, because remember guys, most amount of volume is always in your 3rd wave. Most amount of volume. When you make a 5th wave to the upside, it has less volume. So it's following the rules from an Elliott wave perspective. Lots of volume, another high with lower volume. So far, it looks like it's playing ball at the moment. If you are shorting, I just want to stress again, if you are shorting against the trend, please be very defensive. Okay, you need to be sniper. Don't go all in with your entire portfolio at at high leverage. Okay, you are shorting against the momentum. It could still get punchy here to the upside. Okay, because inside of this local structure, you can now go and zoom into the 5-minute, 3-minute, 1-minute time frame. Now you also have to count, well, what is going on inside of this local structure? Can I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Maybe it's going to punch again here to the upside, because inside of this structure, you also need to count 5 waves. Okay, but guys, I don't go that low, right? It just gets messy when you start going that low. Okay. Right, maybe this is going to move up a little bit. Let's see. Just shorted. Right, obviously with good risk management. Is it start to rejecting now? Well, it looks like it wants to reject. It left the wick behind to the upside. Okay, it's chopping above, chopping below, but usually when it gets below the level, that gives me the confidence to enter. Right, remember guys, I do get stopped out of trades, but I take small losses. Okay, if I had to enter this trade and I get stopped out, that's a small loss for me, because I will use less capital because of how high that wick is. These short little wicks is way better because you have better risk management. But when you get the trade right, it falls here to the downside, that trade pays back this stop loss and way more into your portfolio. If you are trading too aggressively, if you are entering with your whole portfolio at 50x leverage or 100x leverage and you take this knock, you have a big hole in your account, and you're going to have a lot of these trades to make back this loss. But if you are consistent and you're trading with the same amount of money every single trade, okay, you can lose a couple of this and you can win one of these, and it pays back all your stop losses and puts profit into your account. Okay, right, still wants to go. It still wants to go. Looks like it still wants to go. Okay, right. What else? 3 minutes until US Open. Expect some volatility. Yes, careful of the choppy price action. The Moss 91 couldn't agree more with you. What's up, Dewald? The legend, I'm back. It's good to be back in the stream, Todor. Welcome back, man. I haven't seen you here in a while. And, we're just analyzing the local price action here at the moment. If you are in a long, this is a long position you want to hold on for a little bit, especially if you got into lower levels. Devil, please check the whale order and large trades in CoinGlass. CoinGlass, I haven't actually checked that in CoinGlass. I'm going to have to go through all of these things, guys. I don't watch those things that you've just said, whale orders and large trades in CoinGlass. I've never looked at those type of things. I don't even know where to go, right? So I would need to go and play around with it to see if it's something interesting that I could share here on my live streams. I don't need it as part of my trading strategy, but maybe it's something interesting that I could share here on the live streams. But what I can see from a liquidity perspective is that we've dipped into most of the liquidity to the upside, but there's still a little bit left. Okay, so let's see. Okay, it's struggling. It's getting the reaction at the daily level. That's what we want to see. It's getting the reaction. I want to see did we tap that 0.618? Finally, did we tap that level? I think we did. Okay, maybe that's also why we're getting the reaction. Fib from the high to the low. Yes, we tapped the 0.618 to perfection. This is why price is currently getting the reaction at the moment. Okay, you guys can see over here. We now finally, from the all-time high to the low that we've created, okay, 0.618 has now been tapped. And price is getting a reaction at the level. So pay attention. Pay attention. Right. I think I'm actually going to enter a small little short over here, legends. Just give me a second. Okay, it's obviously now a little bit further away. I don't mind being a little bit late to the party. Okay, and I'm going to use a very small amount because of how far that wick is. Right, there we go. Open short. I just need to put in my stop loss. Okay, there we go. Right, small little short. Let's see if this plays out. Looking good. Hopefully it will goes way forward and I will take the TP. Yes, definitely. Also took the short. Dewald account to you what can be the TP levels. TP levels. Okay, the rolling walnut TP levels is always hitting support to the downside. So let's go. Let's go check out the TP levels. If we successfully reject from where we are right now, legends, just to tell everyone, the way that I've entered the trade is I've now entered in this zone. My stop is literally glued to the high over there. If I get stopped out, it falls back down. I will attempt it again and glue my stop loss to the high over there. Okay, I do recognize that this is a small little stop loss for what could fall here to the downside. So the best TP area for me, without looking at Elliott wave theory, is that when you start hitting support, okay, when you start hitting support, it always becomes a TP1 zone. I just want to see where is that damn VWAP. Because I know I stuffed up my settings the other day. I wanted to refresh. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Okay, let's make this one a little bit thicker. Let's do that. Right, now that's nice. Nice color over there. Okay, now I can see it properly. Oof, the VWAP is still very far away. Okay, if this is going to reject, let's play this out. What if, okay, what if just want to see something over here. Okay, yeah, I mean, what if this is, okay, this is definitely a TP area over here. Okay, also just track the trend. This could be a bounce on the trend, right? But here is your first area of support. I will definitely take a little bit of the table off here, realizing that it can still go a little bit lower. Just want to see if this is 1, 2. Want to see if it aligns. Yes. Okay. If this is now forming a fourth wave here to the downside, the 50% is your maximum target for your fourth wave. This is why this has to be a TP area. 0.382 is also a fourth wave target. Okay, do you guys see why it's important? These guys, we are trading against the trend, so you can't expect just magic price action from you know, from this short over here. Can it drop? Yes, it can. You can maybe leave some of the position open, but it can definitely bounce and complete the structure here to the upside. It can go in 4, 5 here. Okay, just remember that. But if this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and this is now 3, which is forming the 4, the 0.382 and the 50% are fourth wave targets. So it could bounce in this zone, and if you didn't take profits, you are left being stopped out or at break even. Is there a chance for a larger corrective structure to the downside? And you know, maybe I've counted all of this wrong. Of course. Okay, I will also take profits when we start hitting support, but I do acknowledge we've hit the 0.618 from a macro perspective. Maybe we're going to get a little bit of a larger corrective structure to the downside. So I will leave maybe 5 or 10% of my position open. Right, Clued, lol, got it. Dewald, what time frame of liquidity heat map do you use for day trading? 24 hour and the 12 hour. It's my favorite time frames to use. you will see I'm always here on the 24-hour or the 12-hour. So for day trading, this is the most powerful time frame on the heat map for me. I don't care about the large, it's interesting when I do Elliott wave theory on the daily time frame, on the weekly, and on the 4-hour. It's interesting to look at the heat map on the larger time frames, but I don't use it to day trade with. So very good question. 12-hour, 24-hour is the best time to use, or time frame for me to use from a day trading perspective. Okay, legends, it looks like we nailed that short. It's never easy, but it looks like we nailed the short here to the downside. Selling pressure is starting to kick in, which is a good sign. This is the support that I did highlight, right? You did hit support. That's where you're getting the reaction back to the upside. But also remember, in a 4-wave corrective structure, you want to see a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you want to see a 3-wave corrective structure. Okay, right. Macro, please. I have already done the macro time frame. Okay, well, I haven't done the daily yet. I haven't done the daily yet. Will the Bitcoin Fairy perform some magic to the downside? That is the question. That is the question. Let's see what CVD is doing. Okay, bully CVD got invalidated. Something to pay attention to. No bully CVD just as yet. Okay, very neutral at the moment. Right. Remember, legends, the links that I use, or the exchanges that I use are down in the description. If you'd like to come and trade with me, support the channel where you get the biggest discounts. Okay, 25% discount on your trading fees and 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. First 100 people will also receive $100 USDT. Okay, on weeks. If you don't like weeks, you can go and trade here on Bluffin as well. Okay, the more you trade, the more money gets airdropped into your account. Links down in the description. All you need is an email and a password. Right, if you'd like to join our Legends Pro community, this link over here to join our Legends Pro community. Okay, right, legends. Just want to see something over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, legends, if there's a way that I counted this, let's say price just drops, okay, aggressively here to the downside. Let me switch off, clean up the chart over here. Okay, there's always a possibility that I've counted it incorrectly. What if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? The structure is done. It would be strange because you want to see a larger corrective structure than number 2 over here. And this is why I'm saying, well, maybe it still needs a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a wave 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, to create the 4, and then another. You guys, I did share the count that I've just done over here, but now I'm speculating on what if we get a deeper drop here to the downside. There's a chance that you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I will definitely be taking profits in the zones that I've just shared with you, but I will be leaving 5 to 10% open for lower levels. Okay, this is most likely where I will close my position, especially if it loses the trend. Okay, it starts hitting support over here. This is where I close the rest of my position. Right. Cool. There is some nice selling pressure kicking in at the moment. I missed the short entry. Yes. Mr. Crypto Big Brains, we all caught it here together. It was a little bit hesitant. I didn't want to take the trade because I'm doing the live stream here at the moment, but I did have my exchange open, so I took a small little trade. Okay, I took the small little trade here on weeks. Took the small little trade. Okay, you want to see? I just want to de-risk my position ever so slightly, waiting for it to. Okay, it's doing its refreshing thing there in the background. Right, legends, that is basically all I wanted to discuss today. It's all I have time for at the moment. Not much else here to say at the moment. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for joining the live stream. Until the next one, cheers for now.